Welcome to the TMC Newsroom. Thanks for watching. My name's Rich Tehrani. On our program today is Adam Boone. He is the VP of Marketing and Product Management at Sipera Systems. Adam, how are you?
Great, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure and my pleasure. And you know, I've followed your company for as many years as it's been around since it was launched. I want to say it's been 10 years. It's
Going on
something
10
like
years,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Early part of the last decade, yeah.
And over that time, I've seen tremendous evolution. And one of the areas that we should talk about the macro area that you play in, and that's real-time unified communication security.
That's right. Yeah.
That's how you look at that space. Recently, you've got a product that came out in the enterprise session border control space, or SBC, and that's been such a hot market. I was hoping you could talk to me a little bit about your product and just give me an overview. How's it doing?
Yeah, sure. So we launched our enterprise session border controller product about 6 weeks ago, and it's been flying off the shelves. It's been going gangbusters for us, really exceeded our expectations in terms of uptake. And the way we came around to launching this product is we've been involved with SIP trunking and SIP trunk termination for enterprises for a couple of years now. And we saw this huge gap in the market out there for session border controllers. The issues were the session border controllers that were being pitched for enterprises were basically too expensive. They were really undercutting the whole business case of SIP trunking and why enterprises would want to adopt SIP trunking. They were too complex. Session border controllers really were born in the carrier market, and they had carrier level complexity and configuration issues. So it became a real challenge for a lot of enterprises to get their SIP trunks up and running. It would take weeks or months of tweaking to get them going. And then lastly, session border control is a security function. And the companies that were pushing session border controllers for enterprises didn't have a security pedigree. They were not security companies. They didn't do active research into the security posture and the VoIP vulnerabilities and the things that are hitting enterprises every day out there. So we came out with an enterprise session border controller that directly addresses all three of those issues. It is 10% of the cost of the typical enterprise SBC. So we're talking 1/10 of the cost. You can very easily make the business case for moving to SIP trunks by using RE-SBC. It is extremely simple to turn up and operate. It is built from the ground up with the simplicity and the needs of the enterprise in mind in order for them to turn up SIP trunks. You can install and have SIP trunks operational literally in a couple of minutes. We're not talking weeks or months here anymore. And then lastly, we are a security company. As you said, we've been focusing on enterprise security, unified communication security for close to a decade now. And based on everything we've learned over that time, we've put that into the enterprise session border controller, so we're protecting the enterprises against things like toll fraud and intrusion and things that your garden variety SBC are not going to detect or pick up.
And that is worth pointing out that your company has been actively researching via a lab that I visited, the Viper Lab, is that
That's
what
correct.
it's called? I visited it at least a few times in Dallas here, and that gives you kind of, I would say, a vision into attacks.
Yes.
That is got to be unique if that's what you're focusing on for so many years. So if you look at this competitive space, and there are a number of players that are focusing on enterprise, some in the carrier space, some crossing over. You've got companies like Audio Codes, another one Sansei, Dialogic, Acme Packet, and even a Genband, and probably a few others now that I just can't recall. Are you seeing any of them now, or it's been a limited amount of time? Are you either seeing them out in the market, and which ones are you seeing, and which ones do you think you'll be winning against in RFP battles?
Yeah, we certainly do, of course, see there are lots of SBCs out there, lots of different types of products that include SBC type of functionality. So we certainly see the players that you've mentioned and many others. What we found, though, is that in particular, the enterprise session border controller decision is often being driven by a VAR, value-added reseller, or some member of a channel group that is helping an enterprise to ultimately transform to unified communications and adopt VoIP, really move into SIP and do so safely. And so we are embedded into the channel. We're bundled into a lot of different UC projects that way. And so it ends up not being so much RFP competitive type of situation as it is we are one component amongst the broader transformation that they're going through. And again, our pedigree is from security. When a VAR or an integrator is helping an enterprise to adopt security as part of their unified communications transformation, we've got our other product line as well, the UC security product line. It also does SIP trunk termination. So we become a natural fit for that whole bundle.
Now, you mentioned just about how the channel sells and how things are becoming more integrated, and that leads me to the next question about what your company is doing with McAfee, which most people don't think McAfee when they think about voice communications or unified communications. So
precisely.
Tell me what's happening with them.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. We just announced a couple of weeks ago the integration of our unified communication security product into McAfee's EPO framework. The EPO framework, of course, is McAfee's dashboard and framework for managing the security architecture, and it's used by thousands and thousands of enterprises around the world. Up till now, they, of course, have focused on the classic security architecture, so being able to understand firewalls, being able to see what's going on with your firmware, your endpoint security, laptops, are they up to date, that sort of thing. Well, what's happened in the security world and in the data world is now voice and video and collaboration tools, what we're calling unified communications, has moved into that environment, right? It's now writing all the same converged network. The security officer, the security manager, needs to be able to understand the security posture for those things exactly like they do their firewalls and other components. Our integration, this is the first time that people using that framework from McAfee will be able to see voice, will be able to see SIP trunks, they'll be able to see collaboration tools, all these real-time applications, and understand the security posture. They'll be able to see attacks. They'll be able to see how many attempts to encroach and enter through the VoIP vector have occurred in the enterprise. In other words, VoIP collaboration tools, UC, are now in scope for the security manager. So this is a game changer.
Now, theoretically, much of this information is already available via standalone dashboards that you would provide, but now there's an integration allowing the security managers to have one less application open or place to look for alerts, right?
Sure.
One less interface to deal with.
The beauty of the McAfee EPO framework is, this ability for them to aggregate and consolidate the entire security posture across all types of security devices into one coherent view that the security manager can use to understand this stuff. And now they can see everything, including voice, including these real-time applications that previously, they would have had to swivel chair into a different system to view.
So I've got 30 seconds left. The producer is signaling me, and I'm curious, where do you want the company to go? Where is it going to be going?
Yeah. You can expect to see a lot more announcements around how we're going to be helping enterprises and service providers to streamline the whole SIP trunk provisioning and SIP trunk termination process and the adoption of SIP trunks. That market, as you know, is exploding. You're also going to see us talking about a lot of new applications that are entering into the unified communications world. Cloud-based communications is really the next wave, and what some people are calling unified communications as a service or related sort of cloud type of communications are going to be the next big wave. And we're going to be doing some really exciting things about making sure the security posture is proper and that an enterprise is able to demonstrate, privacy, compliance, and various other types of security rules in that environment.
Very exciting. Thanks for being on the program again.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.